everyone, this is Lisa Wilkinson for Helmer today, and today I'm going to be sharing first of all an altered canvas that has been crackled and decoupaged with some letters that kind of come through after you've painted over. So I'm going to be doing this today. And I'm also going to be sharing the August embellishment challenge with our preferred partners today in between, because it takes a little bit for the first section to dry and then I'll switch. So first of all, to make this project today, I am using some basil paper that was given to the Helmer design team. It's really perfect because it's like newspaper. You certainly could use some newspaper to create this project too. I'm just going to use this because it was given to us and it's just beautiful. I love the print. All right, so let's get started on this project, and then I will do the other project kind of in between while this is drying the first coat. After that I can use my heat gun, but the first coat I need to let dry just a little bit. So here's what you do to start. You're going to set the paper aside, and I have here a canvas. It's just a really inexpensive 8.5 by 11. I think I paid $1 for it a long time ago and I've never used it. I'm using today, pull that up, the Helmer decoupage. Let's see, it says it's non-toxic, acid-free. Decoupage and craft paste has been specifically formulated for craft applications and the bonding of decoupage cutouts to the surface of your chosen project. Surfaces include wood, ceramic, tin, metal, etc. So this canvas will be just fine. All right. I like almost decoupaged the cover on. Let's pretend that didn't happen. All right, I have a really thick brush, and I'm just going to cover my whole surface here. So I'm just going to take out a whole lot and just smear it around, and then I will smooth it out. I have used foam brushes for this too, but I really prefer a regular paintbrush versus a foam brush myself. I've tried it both ways, and this is my preferred way. So I'm just going to smear it until it's nice and thin. And I'm kind of getting the edges too, because I'm going to slightly wrap the paper, not really, but slightly around the edge. You can see I have some of these like vegetable trays that a very sweet woman saves and gives me by the bagfuls, and I'm just kind of going through it now and wiping my extra back onto the tray. And I'm going to use this extra later, and I'll explain that for the crackling effect. So I'm just putting it back on. Just because I don't want it so thick that it's going to warp my paper too much. Okay. You too. You prefer a paintbrush too? A regular one versus, is that what you were referring to? I can't remember what I was talking about. You'll have to excuse the cartoons in the background. I have my little girls with me today and a baby who's not feeling his best, but I think everyone is all set. Okay, so now I'm just going to set this paper on, and I'm going to kind of line it up almost to the corner here. And then I'm going to take the spreader, and you can see I'm using this for a few things today. It has some white paint on the other side. But on here, I'm just gonna take it and spread it really good. Okay, and then I'm just gonna use my hands once I have it spreaded. Spreaded? I hope that's a word. Spread out. And kind of clean it up a little bit. Okay, so this is what the back looks like. Like I said, it's just a regular canvas, cheap. And I'm going to cut now just around the edges with my cutter bees. I'm not even being all that careful, but you certainly could be more careful. It doesn't really matter because we're going to be painting this too. I'm going to tear it a little bit there. Okay, so when you finish that part, you'll have something that looks like this. I'm just going to get rid of these. And if you wonder, this is the antique newsprint from the Basil Basics paper. So the one I'm using today is antique newsprint. I wonder if I can bring that up and show you. There you go. I know, I'm so hilarious today. I'm actually getting messy. I don't know if you can see my hands. They're really messy. Okay. So now we're going to take some decoupage and paint over the whole surface of our canvas. And I'm going to start with some that's in here. And I'm applying a pretty decent coat, not, you can still see through. Let me show you up close. You can still see through, but you can also see the white. And that's about what I need to get the finished product. Unlike regular decoupaging, today we're trying to get a crackle effect, so you don't want to go so thin that you don't have a nice layer. Have you used this decoupage before? I have to say I had before Helmar only used other products, which I won't name names. But when I tried this, I realized just I like the consistency better. And to be honest, I have to admit something kind of strange. I like the smell better. It's a nice smell, but not too overwhelming. All right, so this is what it's going to look like when it's done. It's going to do one last sweep and get off. Oop, pulling my edges down a little bit. Get off the extra a little here. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like when it's done. And we're going to set this aside. It's nice and smooth. This paper, see, this is why I do think this Basil paper might be a little better than a newsprint. You're going to get a nice texture for the decoupage. So there you go. That's what it looks like. And we're going to wipe a little more off when we use our heat gun to dry this too, but this is a nice start. All right, so I'm setting that aside. I'm going to plug in my heat gun for when it's time and grab my layout, so excuse me for getting up, and show you what I am working on for the challenge. Set my very messy decoupage aside here. All right. I think it's good. All right, so this week is really exciting because we are partnering with Unity Stamps and Susan Papers, which was Susie B. They are bold and fun, but they are also very different than what I would normally play with. And let me show you why. Let me grab them off the floor here. You can see they've been cut into for my project, but let me show you. They're very whimsical, fun, larger patterns. And for someone like me who is a white space scrapbooker, this presented a little fear in me about how I would go about creating not only my page, but since I knew it was this week was also the August embellishment challenge, how I could pull that all together. But after looking through, I decided it doesn't really matter what papers you have, it's just incorporating them into your style. So let me show you some examples of that and how I did that. All right, so the first thing is I cut several circles. There's a paper like this, very bold, big, and lots of circles. What I did is I cut out the individual circles, and then if you can see really close, I machine stitched around. Here's a yellow one. Really roughly, kind of to go with the whimsical feel. That we can see how I stitched around. Okay, so that was the first way I created, and then I cut just some plain circles out too. I also went with the circle theme, and on the embellishment challenge it says to use 3 buttons, and instead of using more embellishments, I think I just wanted to stick to these papers and just own them and really have fun with them. So I actually made my own embellishment buttons with the Epiphany Crafts, which we partnered with not too long ago, and used some more of the speckling, which is on the back of the circles paper. You can see, and I made 3 buttons with that. Then there was a paper with some little sentiments, and I chose 2 that I really liked, and I actually stitched around. Let's see how close I can get. I stitched around. I don't know if you can see that very well. The sentiments. Here's the other one. And I just stitched around that in like a teal color. So then I went and looked kind of through the papers to see what was in the papers that I could use. And I'm going to use these letters for some of my titling. But on the back, I love this. It was a softer print. I decided I wanted to use that for the base of my page. So I cut a circle out. See that? And I stitched around it the same as I was doing with the rest of my pieces. That way they would all look like they went together. Coordinated. I also cut out some of the other patterns in smaller amounts. In the embellishment challenge, it said to use a frame. Well, instead of looking through for a frame in my supplies or purchasing a frame, I took my X-Acto knife and used the back of this boulder print that wouldn't really work for me. It's a nice soft green, and cut out my own frame for my photograph. Then I distressed the edges. I made my frame just a little bigger than my picture so it would show that not only is it a frame, Let me see if I can do that right. But it's going to peek some paper through. All right. So since all of these patterns were so bold and I was a little nervous about that, I decided after cleaning up everything I had and going through, I found one piece of white paper. I was so excited, and I'm going to use this as my base of my page. Oh, I forgot about this. This is great. So there were some patterns that had some neat accents in it. Let me show this part right here. See these clouds right here? I thought, I wonder if I could make a cloud for my page. And I did. So what I did, you can see that, is I cut the cloud out. I stitched around the cloud to give it a little more definition. I distressed the edges, and then I took some extra mist and I sprinkled it inside my cloud just to give it that same distressed look. All right, so let me show you how I'm going to put this all together for the challenge here. I'm going to start with the white and add a couple of the bolder papers first. I'm going to grab, well, I was going to grab my scissors. It seems like every time I turn around, my scissors are gone. I used them. Is anyone's, oh, I know, I threw them on the floor. Thank goodness I looked at them. They still have decoupage on them. All right. I'm going to, this is really loud. I realized when I'm watching the video back, and I'm so sorry, this is obnoxiously loud. So please forgive me. How I distress the cloud is I actually use the X-Acto knife that I cut the frame with. And I think that worked better for the tight spaces. So I'm just going to do this all the way around. And I'm going to go around even a second time. Now, when you see this finished page up, it might have a little extra stitching around this part. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do that or not. So here's the first couple of pieces, and I'm going to use the Quick Fix adhesive runner to get these down. So there's the first two pieces. The next thing I'm going to add is the circle. And I'm leaving the strings on my page. You could cut those off if you don't like that. Do it there. Next, I'm going to add the cloud. On the cloud, I'm going to wind my strings around, and on this challenge, you are going to use, let me look at my paper and make sure it's 5 staples. 5 staples. I'm using my Tim Holtz mini attacher. And my first staple is going right now. And I'm going to add my cloud right about, trying to decide, probably there. There we go. I have a little helper that's come to watch me. Are you going to watch me? You can say hello. People are watching. Do you want to say hello? Say hello, this is Gabby. Yep. On the screen, see? Say hello, this is Gabby. No? All right. So now I'm going to start lining everything else up on my page here. for the actual kind of.
Gabby.
Hello, this is Gabby. Good job. Can you go back and sit in the living room now, please? All right, so sorry about that. So here I am going to trim. After looking, I've decided to trim these off. So I don't know if you can see. I'm just going to snip these off, but onto the floor where my trash is. You're playing checkers with your 5-year-old granddaughter while watching. Good. I'm glad it's not just me that has little ones around. Okay. So I am going to kind of line this up too. So this is how the page is coming together so far. I'm going to kind of lay a few more things down before I actually glue the rest down, and I'll show you why. Next, I'm going to add these little embellishments that I made. If you just joined us, what I did is I took the circles from this paper. Let me find it. It's only a little bit left, so there we go. And I cut them out, and then I stitched around. So I'm just going to lay them out where I think they will look right, and I'm kind of scattering them over the page. There. So they kind of bring your eye across the page, and hopefully squeeze my design in even tighter. Next, I'm going to add my buttons, and the buttons are going in the centers of some of the circles. Actually, I think I'll do this one. There. I don't know how well you can see that. Let me pick one up so I can show you. There we go. So before I glue this down, you might wonder where I'm going to put the other 4 staples. Oh, I love the circles. I know, it was such a fun idea, and I love the paper the way it was, and you certainly could have used this paper just with the circles. But to add all those extra embellishments without having to actually purchase any, I think is such a fun idea. So let me talk about this frame. Like I said, I made it too big, and what I want to do with my staples, a couple of them, is I want to staple the picture in the frame. So I have 2 on the bottom over there and 2 on the top here, and that makes 5 staples. The next thing that I'm going to do for this page is cut out, the title here says, let me hold this up for you, Live in Full Color. And so I wanted to find the word out of letters U. So I'm going to start with that yellow Y, and I'm going to add You Live in Full Color. So let me cut these out. Sometimes when I have an alphabet paper, I never know what to do. I don't necessarily like it for the back. What do you think, Gabby?
Good.
Good? Good. All right. What's your favorite part of the page so far, Gabby?
Don't know.
You don't know yet? Do you like the colors?
Yeah.
Do you like the staples?
Yeah.
What about these letters? Do you like these letters?
Yeah. Cute.
They are cute, aren't they?
I like cut out.
Yeah, I'm cutting them out. Do you like that?
Yeah. But these aren't cut out yet.
Oh, I didn't cut them all out yet. I'm working on it right now.
Just say, decoupage. Are you doing more?
I'm just doing 3. Because Y-O-U spells you.
How do you spell you?
Well, that's just how the letters go together to spell that word.
Oh. I'm hungry.
Okay, well, why don't you go wait in the other room and I'll get you a snack in a couple minutes, okay? Thank you. The second part of the challenge, let's see. No, third, I've done the staples, the buttons. Now, it called for, oh, and I've done the frame. So that leaves me a banner that it called for. And instead of doing a traditional banner, what I'm going to do is sew these letters into a little banner and set that in the center of my page or the top. I haven't decided yet. But let me glue the rest down so I can show you that finished, and I will stitch these and show you on the finished page how that looks. But then I'm not doing like a traditional banner. I'm just, again, using what I already have here for these papers. All right, so let me glue everything else down here. I remember what I already glued down. I'm sure about those now. I'm going to push those down, add these. Cheryl, have you been able to play with these yet yourself? I can't wait to see what you've made. I don't know if it's already on the blog. You've worked with the stamps too. Oh, the stamps are my last little touch, so I can't wait to show that part too. Oh goodness. Let me take, I have a little edge. I was using this already this morning. And it's gonna give me a hard time because I shut it. I mean, I didn't shut it. There we go. Just using the craft glue for the buttons. Okay, I'm gonna do the ones up top. Oh, I think I'll add this in next. Using a little more of the quick fix there. A little more of the craft glue. Oh, the big house stamps. Yes, I actually today am showing the, let me grab them really quick. They're under my other project. The painted sentiments. You've only worked with Play-Doh and finger paint lately? Well, don't be deceived. Before I was doing this, I was playing paper dolls. I'm going to put that on my blog because it's so cute. I was actually playing paper dolls with the beautiful Unity stamps, which are probably not intended for paper dolls, but made beautiful paper dolls to play with my little girls. So I will show a little glimpse of that as well. So I'm just putting these pieces down any way that feels good to me. All right. So now I think I'm going to go back to my other project. While I am doing that, I'm going to hit this page with some mist. Just little splatters to kind of go with the whole distressed feel. Normally, if I was really worried, I might cover my pictures up, but in this case, I have a cloth right beside me, so I'm not doing that. Okay. So I'm going to set this aside to dry. Should only take a couple of minutes. And we're going to go back to the other project. I am going to put this up today on my blog, though, for everyone to see. And a little more close-ups. All right, let me move this stuff out of the way. Let me pull the first project back. All right, before I hit it, I'm just gonna check and see how much is on here. I'm gonna use this brush and kind of just see here. Okay, I think we're good. I'm gonna dry this up. I didn't think about how far this might reach. I'm gonna have to just switch around here. I'm going to shut this off. You'll notice there's some wrinkles in my paper. I'm not going to fix all of those in order to get the nice crackle effect I showed you on my project. Let me pull that up while I'm drying. This is kind of boring, isn't it? I'm sorry. I knew this took 2 or 3 minutes, so I feel bad to do this. I hope you all stick with me as I do this. Okay, I want this side to be a little more dry, just somewhat tacky to the touch, and I want this side to not be as dry. And I'll explain that as I'm doing the project, but I'm just going to go over this side one more time. All right, so now what I did is I grabbed some of these are really old pink paisley letters. They are chipboard alphabet expressions. And what I love about these is the size, and that's why I chose them. They're just a wooden distress letter, which is beautiful on a page too, but I'm going to use them for some okay, so what I did is these had adhesive on the back, and I pulled the adhesive off and just let me show you an example of that. Let me set these down. if you grab one of these, they have adhesive on the back. And I just pulled down and it actually just came right off like that. Because I didn't want it to stick. I'm going to be removing them. All right, so this is what I'm going to do next. This decoupage that's on here, I'm going to leave, and I'm going to just put some white paint here. And it seems kind of scary. I'm actually mixing the white paint with a little of this decoupage. And I'm just going to paint over the whole canvas with this. You don't want a lot of decoupage, just some leftover bits. And you want to make sure you cover the whole canvas with a nice thin white coat. I'm going right around the edges too. Just gonna get some more paint here. Make sure I have a lot. Because we're crackling this a little bit, I don't want you to worry if it doesn't look perfect. It's more important that it's just a nice thin coat. I'm going to go all the way around the letters and then just kind of show the letters last. All right, I do not have adhesive on these letters, so I'll have to hold them down, kind of go in the edges, just go right over them, and then do the next one. Next one. That's okay. I did this before. It's all good. You just have to move it to where, awesome, it will not, don't panic if your letters move. Just try to find, if you can, a space. If not, I have a bunch of Q-tips I put in front of me for a purpose. In case I ruined the letters, I have some Q-tips. And I can actually get the paint off with the Q-tips. I don't know if you see that, I just lost one of the pieces of my paintbrush. I'm just gonna get that off. There we go. I'm gonna switch to this paintbrush in case that one's just a little tired. Okay. These are just really inexpensive brushes that I picked up at Walmart a long while back. We use them for everything from school to crafts, so there is a lot of use these are getting. All right, now I'm just going back through the edges and kind of pulling out some of the extra paint. All right, the next step. This one scares me just a tad. Did the first time and it does even now. Now I'm going to use, look at my hands. I'm really getting messy. I'm going to use my spreader and pick up the letters from the corners like this. All right. And I don't want you to worry too much because we're going to get out the Q-tips and kind of fix them up a little bit. Okay. And you can see what's happened is we have shown through the newsprint type paper. Okay. Yes, I'm embracing my mess today. All right. So now I have a little teacup here. Before I heat set this, I'm just going to dip in my teacup a Q-tip and go around with one side and then dry it fast with the other side. You don't want to wait too long because you're going to actually lose the, I need a dry one. You're just kind of going around the edge. And when it's dry, it's easier to fix the little mistakes. So you're just getting any big glob of paint right now, not the little ones. Don't worry too much about that. All right, so now I'm going to take this, and you can see it's already starting to crackle, which is exactly what I want it to do. And I'm just going to heat set it, and it's really going to start crackling. And you're going to see bits of the newsprint shining through. The reason I chose to do the word praise is because we are doing a lesson in our class. Let me show you the dry one. I'm going to set this aside for a second. We're doing a lesson in our class on prayer every day and homeschooling, and every letter stands for one part. I have a little melting in the background, but the way I'm going to finish this, and I'll happily show that on my blog, is I'm just going to put a clothespin glued with some 450 beside each letter, and that will hold not only what the lesson is meant to be about, what the P stands for is praise, but it will hold a few little words we can tuck in there that we come up with that day for the little ones. My big kids will be writing some letters to God, but my little girls are just going to come up with a word or two, and we're going to write that down together, and we're going to put it beside each letter. So that way, it'll not only help the big kids remember the letters, but it's going to be a way for the little girls to look back at the end of the week at the different words that we've come up with, or prayers in different cases. So this is our canvas. It's a nice gray. It matches the project that I did a couple of weeks ago. They'll go side by side. I'm hoping to get those on my wall this week. Take some pictures for you guys, show you what and how it came together. Now, if you want to know more about this decoupage, want to see it in action with some of our other design team members, August 19th through the 25th, there's going to be a lot more projects on the Helmar blog using decoupage. Really amazing ideas. The design team is amazing, and I just want you to check that out. So I'll put a link to that on my blog as well. Does anyone have any questions for me? Okay, thank you for joining me, and I hope you had fun getting messy with me today. I know I made a big mess, and that was so fun for me and different, and I am really excited about the different art that we're going to have hanging up that are useful for us too. Thank you.